Hey Otakus, what's up? It's your tour guide here with my top 25 iconic Superman covers. These are the top 25 iconic Superman covers in my collection, and I'm just going to go over my sort of the ground rules in establishing this list. Um, First off, there are books in my collection, so obviously there are more iconic covers throughout the history of this character. But if I don't have that cover in my collection, it didn't make my list. The second part is I'm showing this great iconic cover here, back cover actually, of the first sort of crossover between Marvel and DC. And this would be like a candidate for an iconic cover in my list, but I really wanted to focus on the covers where Superman was the focal point, where he was being the Superman, the man. And in here, it's just a balanced sort of cover where Spider-Man and Superman are sort of on equal terms. So I left books like this off my list. It had to be very apparent that Superman was the man on the cover. And again, has to be in my collection, has to be an iconic, sort of timeless image. And of course, really focused on the artwork. The artwork has to be stellar, so no photo covers or anything like of that nature. Starting us off here at 25, we've got Action Comics #1, the most iconic cover in comic books, really. This is the highest valued book. Also, the first time we see Superman in comic books, as well as on a cover. Superman established a lot of firsts, and we'll kind of, this list, as we go along, we'll kind of talk about what those firsts are. But yes, first costume superhero, Action Comics 1 here, kind of a lot of firsts going on here as well with the character. And so absolutely iconic cover by Joe Shuster. And even though this probably should be #1, I just didn't feel, because this is a facsimile copy, I just felt like, yeah, starting us off with it is a good start. All right, number 24 on our list is this wonderful cover by John Byrne. And this is Who's Who, Volume 22. Why is this on my list? Yeah, that's a good point. This is a point in DC Comics where, following the events of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, so we call it post-crisis event, this was a re-establishing of the DC universe along a integrated singular timeline. And the timeline was set in the modern times, and it again was re-establishing all the characters throughout the history of DC. So they were kind of rewriting it through this introduction here, Who's Who, giving you kind of all these character profiles and then setting them up for, again, their kind of reintroduction in the post-crisis timeline. And what I love about this cover is, again, this is one of our first looks at the redesign of the post-crisis modern Superman. But what you'll notice subtly that Byrne does is he references Christopher Reeve's smile. That is unmistakably Christopher Reeve's smile. And it's a very different look from Byrne's other panels, actually on the run. But this is definitely a shout out to Christopher Reeve in terms of the referencing of the character. And I think, again, putting him on the Who's Who S list here at the forefront, even though Swamp Thing's trying to steal the thunder there, it's definitely Superman being the man. We get the redesign with the big S, the more, the bigger muscles. But again, that iconic Reeves smile, just setting the tone for what Byrne wanted to do. And absolutely an iconic cover, in my opinion. Oh, what's more iconic than this image? The Death of Superman, the second best-selling book of all time. Pretty much the pinnacle event in comic books in the modern era. Superman's battle to the death with Doomsday, and we just get this sort of memorial flag here at half-mast, being flown at half-mast, the tattered cape. Absolutely iconic image by Dan Jurgens and Brett Breeding here. Next on our list, we've got Action Comics 485. And this is another homage cover of really Neal Adams homaging himself. But this breaking of the chains image is a motif throughout the history of Superman books. In fact, on the back cover of Superman 1, there's this great image of Superman breaking the chains, and Joe Shuster always said he referenced the strongmen, the costume strongmen in the circus, who bent bars and broke chains as part of their act. He was really referencing those images because they're really beefy guys, you know, from that era, as the inspiration for the character. So that, again, the circus strongman was the inspiration for the design of Superman, and of course, one of the things those strongmen did was like break chains and all that. And so Superman here breaking chains like he did on the back cover of Superman 1 and like he did on the cover of Superman 11 and many other instances throughout the book. So this continues to be just, you'll see this ever so often on comic books, Superman breaking chains. Next we have the Mullet of Steel, Superman being the man here, kind of wooing and impressing Wonder Woman. You know, we got Mullet Superman as a, sort of a gift in the you know, in the 90s, and I think it will come back at some point because he looks absolutely fabulous in it. I wouldn't keep him in the mullet, but definitely from time to time you can bring it back. But yeah, he's definitely being the man there with Wonder Woman at his side. All right, next we've got another iconic image. Here is the care to step outside General Zod kind of image. Alex Ross giving us this incredible Superman just floating above Metropolis at dusk and just looking badass. This is, again, one of my favorite covers in comic books. Just showcases the talent of Alex Ross and his understanding of the look and feel of sort of just a more classic take on the character. All right, another iconic image here. We got a Batman book on the list, but again, Superman being the man, kind of choking Batman out. Fan favorite for sure. And just showing you again, you know, don't mess with him, right? Like, just showing you the power and strength of this character. Batman really being helpless and not able to do much. And all right, we got more Neal Adams on the list here. Superman 317. Adams just doing a classic take on the character, showcasing sort of the rage and power in his artwork here of Superman. Just a beautiful cover. This is Superman infused with kryptonite, so he's got a green Superman, but yeah, absolutely an iconic image. One of Neal Adams' best cover works on the character. Now, you know, when Neal Adams passed, I think a lot of fans were quick to kind of shove this narrative down people's throats that Batman was the legacy character for Neal Adams. And I strongly disagree with that. Well, I think, you know, Neal Adams and Denny O'Neil's run on Batman was iconic, and it was a game changer for the character. When you just look at the volume of Neal Adams' cover work, and Neal Adams did a lot of cover work, including World's Finest, where he showcases Superman and Batman. And to be honest, just the pure volume and the iconic images of Superman like this one definitely tilt in the Man of Steel's favor for Superman's legacy, or Neal Adams' legacy character. So I would strongly disagree with that statement, and I'm sure Neal Adams would disagree as well. All right, Action Comics number 500 is on our list, and this one, another iconic image. You got the Infinity cover, you've got this milestone issue 500, you got this beautiful classic rendition of the character by Ross Andru, and what's not to love about this image? You got Supergirl in, you know, go-go shorts, just beautiful, beautiful classic image. All right, moving on, we've got Superman Forever, number 1. This is an image that's hard to see, but it's absolutely iconic. Again, Alex Ross just giving us an iconic look at Clark, changing, and just in the blink of an eye, he's changed into the Superman suit, and he's off. Those are his boots right there. So this lenticular image, this cover here is an absolute must-have for Superman collectors, I think. And yeah, you definitely want the lenticular version of the book over the standard cover. Next on our list is number 15, Superman 243. And again, Superman being the legacy character of the great Neal Adams. We get this just beautiful embrace between two aliens. And man, is that just a beautiful cover. Yeah, I absolutely love this. I would love to get actually a higher grade of this book, and we may pursue that at some point, but just happy to have this cover. Roger did work on this book for me, and he improved it greatly. So thank you for that, Roger. And just one of the absolute favorites in my collection at number 15. More Neal Adams. You've got World's Finest 180. And again, just, Neal did so many of these World's Finest covers, and Batman is never the man in the World's Finest books. It's always been Superman, and Batman is his sidekick. You could just taking the World's Finest legacy of covers. I think World's Finest probably outnumbers the number of Batman books Neal has done. So there you go. Woo! Here's another amazing cover by the legendary Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. Man, what a moment for the Man of Steel. He becomes a married man. And Lois there just beaming with happiness as they fly off into the sunset. Another little Action 1 homage here with Superman lifting the car, but of course it's a wedding car. Just married. Absolutely iconic image. Another must-have for Superman collectors in the collection here. Speaking of must-haves, this is an homage of Superman 1 by the legendary George Perez. Very few times do you have a person paying homage actually put out a better book than the original. It's rare because the original sets sort of the standard, right? But I think in this instance, I think most people would agree this is just a better rendition of the character and image than Superman 1. But of course, originals are iconic for a reason. But man, does George Perez kill it on this cover? He absolutely nails every detail of that character right there. Next, we have Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen 110. This is an interesting cover. First, we got the Infinity cover there and going on. But this is actually an homage to Superman. Superman 38 is that famous image where there's a barber with a bunch of broken scissors. He brings out this big scissor. He can't seem to cut the hair of steel. So that's an iconic image again. And again, this list just is comprised of the books I own. So all these classic Golden Age, Silver Age covers that probably should be on this list that aren't. Again, this is just sort of my curated list with what I have. But I put this on there because, again, it's an homage cover of Superman 38. It's also got this great relationship between Jimmy and Superman. Superman just letting him cut his hair. And you got this neat collaboration between Kurt Swan and Neal Adams. Absolutely iconic. All right, we're introducing the top 10 now, and number 10 on the list is, again, an iconic cover here, number 252, Superman. And it's a wraparound, first off. It's a beautiful wraparound. But, when Richard Donner was casting and coming up with sort of the design for the movie, Superman movie, he really referenced comic books, specifically comic books at the time by Neal Adams. And he wanted to reference some of these images for the flight scenes in his movie. So he wanted to really capture how the comic books captured the motion of flight, some of the poses. And you really see Christopher Reeve adopt a lot of these sort of like one hand, like tucked away, and then another hand kind of out at the forefront to turn and all that. He really used these images referenced here on this book and throughout the comic books of this period, especially Neal Adams' art. And Neal Adams, his design of the character had a direct impact on the casting of Christopher Reeve. The director wanted somebody who captured the look in comic books, and I think, again, Reeves definitely nails it with the suit and the look and the physique. And so, I think those two legacies are combined here. Neal Adams definitely impacted the project and launched the career of one of the great actors of that time. Like I mentioned before, Reeves went on to influence Burns' redesign of the character, and so you have this sort of cyclical but linear relationship between comic books, movies, and back to comic books. So just wonderful to see that. And number 10 is an absolute gem of a cover. Number 9, we're going with Action Comics 309. This is a iconic image, first off, because you have all these just Superman family members here, the whole crew there, just waiting to give Superman some thanks. And this is a weird issue because this was an issue that featured John F. Kennedy Jr., the president. The president kind of helped Superman out in this tricky, sticky situation. And, it's revealed at the end that it's the president. And then, this book is distributed, and soon after it's distributed, JFK is assassinated. And so it was really just bad timing, not an appropriate time for to be celebrating a president in comic books. But of course, it was too late. But, you look back at it now, and it really is just an endearing sort of tribute to the president. So I think all in all, it's not like a tasteless book. It's just, again, no one could have predicted that turn of events. But absolute classic comic book and iconic cover by Curt Swan. This is my only Golden Age book on the list, and it's just a classic image of Americana here by Al Plastino on the Superboy cover. This is the first appearance of Lana Lang. Just love the sort of the playfulness of Superboy here, or young Superman, if you can look at it that way. But also just painting a picture of the time, right? Here you get this, like, there are these kids in the city, but they're playing cowboys, like near a fire hydrant. And, the kids used to do these, like, rope tricks. That was, like, what you did back when there was no, like, internet or television really to enjoy. And, they played outside with ropes. So, great just Americana image there. Classic cover by the legend Al Plastino. More Neal Adams here. Superman in the courtroom. He's being interrogated as the man who's on trial for murdering this little girl's daddy. What can you say? More can you say about this cover other than it's just incredible? Just the detail, the courtroom, all the characters there, and just this great exchange between the little girl who's mourning her father, Superman, who obviously looks distressed there. So I love the case of the people versus Superman, and it's just good to see the love return for this iconic character. So love to see that. All right, next we've got Superman 205. It speaks for itself. Just one of the most iconic images on a Superman book by the late great Michael Turner. They're just kind of paying homage to the Superman movie as well. There's that great scene where Superman's flying off into space, kind of turning the corners, and you see the sunrise come out from the space view, aerial view of Earth, and Turner kind of paying tribute to that scene here on this cover. Just absolutely beautiful. Our top 5, we have number 5 on the list, another iconic image from that run of Superman 204. This is one half of that connecting image with Superman and Batman mirroring each other. And again, one of the iconic, enduring images in modern times, and of course one of Jim's best works on this character. I would go with Superman being Jim Lee's legacy character when it's all said and done as well, just because of Jim's stated love for the character as his favorite character, and also the fact that he's now the top guy at DC. He's actually paid to believe that and say that, so hopefully it doesn't take arm twisting to understand that. And yes, this is his first work on the title. Number 4 on our list is Action Comics 1000. Jim tasks himself to do the honors on this iconic book, the first book in comic books on a serial run to reach 1000. So again, out of the many firsts for Superman, you know, the first costume superhero, the first radio show, the first television show, the first box office movie hit of a Superman character, global box office hit. Also the first to reach the 1,000 mark. This is just, again, an iconic cover by Jim Lee. He just absolutely nails it. Doesn't do too much. Just creates this incredible image with Metropolis in the backdrop. And yes, this is my foil version of the A cover. Absolutely love this iconic piece in my collection. Number 3 on our list, the first variant cover in comic books. This is the first marketed variant cover. So the first time they intentionally made a second cover to sell, and this was a direct only distribution. But yeah, love this cover. It's just very simplistic. You just have the S there, but you know what's going on, right? That's an iconic pose right there. Just the changing from Clark to Superman by, you know, just tearing open that shirt, flying off. So again, iconic image, really important book because this is where they reestablished the modern timeline of the characters. So this is the starting point that leads to, you know, the death of Superman and all the great stories that we've been able to enjoy post-crisis. So big key book there. All right, number 2 on my list is really kind of like, if you were to twist my arm, this is my favorite image of Superman. It's Neal's cover on Action Comics 419, and what more to say about this than you know, it's just this really uplifting image. He's smiling, right? Obviously, you know, and she's kind of coming out of this dull, dreary gray city, and he's just flashing those bright primary colors and pearly whites. And again, it's this kind of image that was influencing the design for Donner's film that led to the casting of Reeve. And so again, that connection there, comics, film to comics, just wonderful to see, and an enduring image and cover in comic books. Classic, iconic cover. And number 1 on our list, yes, this is sort of the big boy book in my collection, my favorite book. As we discussed, you know, the breaking of the chains is a motif that we see throughout the history of this character, but Neal Adams just took it to another level with this incredible cover. But this actually is a cover that Adams was critical of, not because of his art, but because of what they did to his art. The editor wanted to put this Kryptonite Nevermore, and it really doesn't make sense. That even doesn't make sense. The whole concept there doesn't make sense. It just would have been better without it, and with the leg being straight rather than compromised. So the inker had to redraw the leg there to fit that, and of course Adams wasn't happy about it, and it just really looks odd, doesn't, you know? And again, that the Kryptonite Nevermore just really doesn't need to be there. It just would have been a more iconic image as intended by the artist. But you know, we can't go back and change that really critical decision by the editor, because it is what it is. And it's not like Neal Adams drew multiple versions of this. He did give us sort of an homage to it with the legs cut off, though, as this iconic cover has just an interesting story to that on the legacy of Neal Adams. And this is absolutely a collecting favorite among Superman collectors, among Neal Adams fans, and again, fuel for the fire for Neal Adams' legacy character being Superman. So I hope you like this list. You know, create your own list. I'd like to see a lot of people do their own lists and see what lands on your list in terms of your collections. Hopefully you love the character like I do and just have fun with it. But yeah, my top 25 iconic Superman covers in my collection. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one.